Tokaido. It is the ultimate serenity in board gaming. Look, nothing beats it. In the original Tokaido, you're going on a journey. You're going to go for a walk from Tokaido to Edo, visiting shops and panoramic locations, temples, hot springs. In Namiji, we're now in boats and we're going around the beautiful port of Namiji and we're going out fishing. We've got a rack in front of us and we're going to fill that up with fish, but we're also going to have the beautiful panoramic locations that Tokaido is known for, and we're also going to have some sacred rocks, which are going to be some hidden objectives in this, which is a great little addition. Now, Tokaido Duo, this is different. We are now a two-player only version of this game. We're going to be controlling 3 meeples. We're going to have the pilgrim, the artist, and we're going to have the merchant. Look, it's amazing. So let's go check out what does the two-player version add that these other two can't do. Now, Tokaido Duo, it's pretty simple, but the main thing you need to understand is every player is going to be moving 3 different meeples. So we've got the purple player and the green player. Whoever's up the north of the island gets to go first. So what's going to happen is we're going to roll the dice and green's going to go first here. Now you have 3 separate dice and those 3 dice are attached to the 3 types of meeples. So red is going to be your pilgrim and your pilgrim is going to move around the outside of the board there. Your orange is going to be attached to your merchant, and your merchant's going to go through to the mountain towns and also to the coastal towns. And then lastly, you have your artist, which is the brown one here, and they're going to move throughout the island, and they got all these beautiful places like bamboo and mountains, beautiful scenery to inspire them to make great paintings. Okay, now, so first player is green, and they're going to go with red there. So they're going to grab the pilgrim die, and they're going to move 2, 1, 2. Excellent. Now they've landed on something. So let's just go through all these spots. We got temples. Temples, we're just going to move up the temple track here. We've got these beautiful gardens. We're just going to move down the gardens track here. We got coastal towns, which means we can make some money. We're going to have these blue coastal locations, which give us bonuses. So let's just say, let's grab this one here. This is going to be attached to the merchant. This one's telling me every time I now go send that merchant and sell my wares, I'm going to get 1 coin extra for each type of ware. So they're all going to have bonuses. This one's pilgrim, means the pilgrim can move 1 extra every turn. Just nice little bonuses. So that's the way the coastal towns work. And then finally, the hot springs. Now, when you land on the hot springs here, you're going to get the hot spring token. When you get the hot spring token, that means you get 1 time only, get to mirror an action. So let's just say I had the pilgrim there for 2. I get to use my hot spring and go 2 again. That's sort of how the hot spring works. Then it goes back and then hopefully someone else will get the hot spring later. Cool, so the pilgrim, we've now taken our first turn. Now the second player, they get to choose from one of the 2 remaining die. Let's go the merchant here. So they're going to use the merchant die and they're going to move their merchant. And look, we're purple, so we're going to move the merchant 1. That's now telling me I've landed in a mountain town with a number 4. So the number 4 means I can choose 4 wares out of this bag. Let's grab 4 there. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, and 1 more. Excellent. You put your wares on here, and then you can sell them at a later turn. So let's just say that the merchant has had another turn down the track, and eventually they've landed on a coastal town. So let's say I've landed on this coastal town here. This is telling me I can sell any of these beautiful fine clothing for 4 coins. So let's say I would have done that, would have got 4 coins there. Excellent. Now that is done. Now what are we trying to achieve with the merchant? Well, we're trying to achieve these gold bars. When you reach 10 coins, you get to put a gold bar in here. You're going to notice each one of these is going to have some points. So the more gold bars you put in, the more points you're going to get at the end of the game. That's how the merchant works. So we've got Pilgrim, who's going to work on a multiplier. So the multiplier is going to be the temples by the gardens. The middle section is going to be the gold bars. And then finally, let's look at the artist. So we go back to the first player again. They've got 1 die left, and this is telling me I can move the artist 1. So I'm going to move the artist, let's go here. Now, what it's telling me here for the artist, for every meeple that is within that area that that artist landed on, they get to turn over that many paintings. So I can turn over 2 paintings here, because there's 1, 2 meeples. So it doesn't matter if it's your meeples or the opponent's, and they're going to give me different things. So both of these are actually mountains, and I actually end up in a mountain. So if you end up in the same space that the closest, so the one on the furthest top left, if it matches, then you get to sell that painting. So basically it's just gone, and you're going to see here we've uncovered some points. The more paintings you sell, the more points you're going to get at the end of the game, and that's how the artist works. So that's pretty much the 3 different things. Now, what is the end game condition? Well, each one of these could trigger the end game. Now, if you get to the end of the gardens, or you get to the end of the temples, or you've maxed out on your gold bars all the way at the end, or you've uncovered your last painting, that's going to trigger the end of the game. Then you count up your points for both players, and that's how you play Tokaido Duo. Now, Seven Wonders Duel set the standard back years and years ago for a 2-player only version of a game based on original game. Well, we've had a couple since then. Splendor Duel I really love. It's a 2-player only version of Splendor. Splendor? Look, Splendor's great. You can play it at 2 players, but Duel adds so much more to it. And that's what we're happening here with Tokaido Duo. We have more going on in this game than probably Tokaido and potentially Namiji put together. But how do we fit all that extra gameplay in such a small box? Well, it's just the fact we have something so different here. 3 dice, 3 meeples. We have choices. Now, we've never had these choices in the Tokaido franchise ever. Now, have a think of Tokaido. You remember that journey. You're just basically going along the next available slot most of the time. Yeah, cool, that's available. That will help me. Pretty much everything helps you along the way. And it's just a nice, lightweight game. Now, have a think about Namiji. We're doing the same thing. We're going around. We're just going to get next available slot, same sort of thing. But difference is now we've just got a rack in front of us, a boat in front of us. And we're trying to get rows and columns of fish, the same type or same color. Cool. Just adds a little bit more, but it's again the same sort of vibes where, you know what, there's choices, but is there really choices? Well, Tokaido Duo flips that on its head because you 100% now have choices. You know, when you roll those dice, if you're the first player, you're going to choose one of those 3. Amazing. Cool. Second player now has a choice of 2 left. Amazing. What do? Do you pick the dice that's going to affect you and help you the most? Or do you have a look at your opponent and go, hang on, that pilgrim dice, it's not going to really help him, or that artist dice isn't really going to help him? You're actually looking at your opponent, and we've never ever looked at our opponent really in Tokaido or Namiji, and I love that as just something different to the franchise. Now the board in front of us here is nice, broken up into 3 different ways. We've got the outside edge for our pilgrim. Awesome. Again, goes back to the original Tokaido. Next up, we have the artist going through different sectors on the board and trying to stop at different sectors based on the artwork they've got. I like that. That's new. And then finally, the merchant. The merchant's going to have, again, similar vibes where, we're going to have wares and things like that, like when we go to the shops. But this is cool because we're now going to those middle towns and we're going in and we're collecting as much as we can. And then eventually we need to look at the board and go, I need to get rid of them. You can only have 5 on your board, so you need to start selling them. So you need to start planning, how can you get to the coastal town that's going to give you the best possible price for those wares? Again, decisions we've never had before. And that's what makes Tokaido Duo brilliant. I really rate this. I rate the original Tokaido. I love Namiji even more. I think potentially I love this even more. Now, look, when I say that, do you need all 3? Of course you don't. They're all going to be similar vibes. But I am glad I own all 3 because they are different enough. I want them all. When I want a Tokaido night, I can literally pick any one of those 3. Now I know I've got myself just a good, fun night of gaming. Now, let's talk about cons. What can we think about here? Well, I think about potentially it's a very short playing game. Now, the fact you have 3 different areas that can all trigger the end game. So your pilgrim, your merchant, your artist, they all can trigger the end game, and that can come up onto you before you even know it. It's so quick. So here's the thing. One of my examples was I played one game, and on one turn, I think I had a +1. I was selling my wares. I had +1. I think I was selling maybe the glass bottles there. Anyway, I got 5. I had 3 of them. I think I got 15. Plus, I had some coins. So all of a sudden, I grabbed 20. So 2 gold bars, and I triggered the end of the game. The opponent didn't see it coming. It just happened like that. And it is one of those things where that's just a single example of how this game can go so quick, and you've just got to just keep riding those waves, ride those coastal waves, because, it's a journey. It's a journey that's going to be over in the blink of an eye, but this is a duo. This is a 2-player only version, a game you really do need in your collection. I love the original Tokaido. I reckon it's going to be my top 20, maybe 25 games of all time. I really rate it. It's such a great game. And like I said, I think this is better, but yeah, look, it's up to you. Look, if you're not going to play 2-player much, well, obviously you don't need this, but if you're going to play with, Tokaido, you need at least 4 players. 4 players is going to give you the optimum gameplay there. But you know, we can't always get 4 players to the table, so that's why duos and duels exist. So that's all I have. Look, let me know in the comments below which out of Tokaido, Namiji, Tokaido Duo do you have and love, and or do you hate the gameplay? Anyway, I'd love to know. Anyway, that's me. I'm Hose. This is the Bangers Project. Tokaido Duo. Later.